Hey, what's going on, guys? I've wanted to do this video for a while now. Just a little quick review of a 2011 Kia Optima SX. The SX is the turbo model. It was the first year that Kia offered this turbo model Optima. It was actually the first year of this body style. The one before it was pretty ugly and pretty crappy. To be honest, this car was ahead of its time. 2-liter engine, turbocharged, 274 horsepower. I forget the torque figure, but it moves. It's got a lot of power. This is honestly like a 8-year update. The car is a 2011 now. Well, 9-year update because it's almost 2020. So if you think about it, this car is aged really well. This car was ahead of its time. LED taillights. Just take yourself back into time. It's 2010. You walk into the Kia dealership and you see this parked there. Like, it was honestly crazy. You honestly have all the bells and whistles you have on a brand new car. And Kia keeps trying to call me to upsell me on a new model, but honestly, why trade it in, you know? I want to talk about a couple things that you may want to look out for if you buy one. This car is honestly probably the best bang for your buck when it comes to a performance vehicle. It's as quick as a Nissan 350Z, 10 times more reliable, and surprisingly you can get those cheaper than you can get a turbo model one of these. So my wife bought this car 4 years ago. We actually imported it from Quebec. We live in Ontario, hence the snow tires right now. Some things to look out for. There has been a major recall on this car for the engines. That includes the 2-liter turbo engine and the 2.4-liter GDI engine. These motors are gas direct injected. There was some sort of issue that led to catastrophic engine failure on these Optima models, and actually across the line. My friend actually worked at a Hyundai dealership. They had a shit ton of Hyundai Elantras with engine failures and whatnot across the Optima range, and other models too, with the 2.4-liter engines and some with the 2-liter turbo engine. Ooh, it's cold outside. Picked a hell of a day to do this video. So as this car is 9 years old, I'm just gonna go over a few things, maybe wear and tear items. There are not that many, to be honest. The car was oil sprayed 4 years ago when we got it. Had a fresh oil spray on it. The body has held up really well. A couple stone chips here and there. Some scuff marks from when you're getting in with your shoes. Right there. Nothing major. That little bit of touch-up paint can't fix. Wear and tear stuff. Let's see. A little bit right here, which is hardly noticeable. The top of the steering wheel has a little bit. But other than that, when it comes to wear and tear, the seats have held up remarkably well. No tears, no rips, no nothing. The armrest is still perfect condition. The trim in this car, it's as tight as ever. The only wear and tear item that I can honestly see on this vehicle is the steering wheel leather. I'm gonna move inside the car for a second here. Inside the vehicle, you got honestly everything that a newer car would have. Like, you got the satellite radio. Right now I have obviously FM, AM radio, and then you got your GPS system. The 2011 model did not have power folding mirrors. The 2012s and up did. It's not that big of a deal, really. The only difference are some safety things that some of the new ones have, lane departure warnings and whatnot. But honestly, if you need that crap, then you shouldn't be driving a car. Overall, it's been a good car. The car has 141,000 kilometers on it, so that's roughly, I think, 87,000 miles. Like I said, the value for your money on this vehicle is awesome. Some recent maintenance items that I have done within the last year or 2 years have been the turbo wastegate actuator that failed. and it caused the car to go into a limp mode. It wasn't making boost. So basically the turbo wasn't turning on properly for people who are not that well versed in cars, but who would like to know more and who would like to be educated, as I was when I found out about this stuff, because this is actually the first turbo vehicle my wife and I have ever owned. My summer car is a Mazda Miata, so as we all know, those handle quite amazing. The handling on this car, on a scale of 1 to 10, depending on your tires, I would say it's about a 7. It could be maybe even an 8 if it was if we had better tires on it in the summer. This year we just got some lower grade tires because they are 18-inch wheels, so they tend to be a little bit expensive. Speed and performance, I would say it's a 10 for this price range. These cars you can get for, I've seen them for between $7,500 to $10,500, even with similar mileage. Like you get, 250 kilometer an hour top speed, so you can do 150 mile an hour, 155 miles an hour, quarter mile in mid 14s, 0 to 60, 6 seconds flat. I have dusted some cars out there that, like a new WRX. I was surprised, but I left them in the dust. Performance-wise, it's great. Handling-wise, it's decent. Well, coming from a Miata, I guess everything's going to be just decent. But like I said, for 2011, this car is way ahead of its time, considering it's a Kia, and Kia was known to be quite the shitty brand back in the day. Like, you got your heated and cooled seats, right? And the air conditioning or ventilated seats. You got the Shiftronic transmission, so you tap it over there, right? And you also have the paddle shifters, right? What else can I tell you guys? The rear seats are also heated. The trunk is quite large. The seats do fold down. The Infinity sound system is quite good. Very happy with that. There's one little rattle in the door here I got to take care of underneath the armrest there. From what I've read online, you just have to take the door panel off and put like a little piece of foam tape there. Not really too worried about it. This car does have the Korean domestic market decals on it, on the interior and the exterior. On the interior, it's only on the steering wheel. What else can I tell you guys? You got the memory seats, the fog lamps, all your controls on the steering wheel, Bluetooth. There's an eco mode on this car. Honestly, I've never used it. I heard it's bullshit. It's basically like a snow mode in the Wipes Lexus. It just decreases the power that your car has and makes the throttle pretty lethargic. It's kind of like a dummy switch, so even if you try to drive like a inefficient dickhead, it kind of slows you down. It will still go when you floor it, but your throttle response is greatly diminished. The rear seat space is actually exceptional in this car. It's actually more comfortable in the back seat of this car than the front seat if you're going a long trip, believe it or not. The rear, the angle of the backrest on this seat is quite angled backwards. It's hard to see right now, but that actually helps with comfort for long trips. Driver's seat is not overly bolstered like the new Honda Civics. My brother-in-law has a 2017 or 18 Honda Civic, and the seats are over bolstered, and the problem with that is, as nice as it is that the seat holds you firm, for the first 15-20 minutes it seems nice, but after that your back starts hurting. So these seats are lightly bolstered, and the butt rest where your ass sits is very lightly bolstered as well. So comfort wise, it's great. I mean, it's not going to do any favors on a racetrack. Electrically wise, this car has been exceptional. Honestly, I can't think of one thing that has broken in this car besides the fog lamp light bulbs when we first got the car. Those were burnt out, but besides that, I believe I changed the dome light bulb once, I mean, these are wear and tear items, right? Like the car's 9 years old. But one other thing that comes to mind, actually, the rear view camera, when you put the car in reverse, that failed once. So we got a camera imported from a Korean a Korean car scrapyard somewhere down in Georgia or Florida. So we actually replaced it with another OEM quality camera because I didn't want to buy some Chinese crap. So we still paid a pretty penny, even though it was used, but knowing it was from a non-snowy climate, that was a plus, I'd say. Overall, the car's been great. Would I buy another Kia product? I think I would. Even though there's been a few recalls and stuff, that's the problem with cars these days. There's a lot of recalls and service actions that are required. You know, you can't really be safe with any cars. Like Toyota had a shit ton of recalls and service actions, and you had the whole Takata airbag harness fiasco, which this car was not affected by. I mean, this car has had its fair share of recalls. Most recently, there's a knock sensor update that they did. The oil catch can bracket, I think, which is honestly not a biggie. I think the bolt rusts out and it could possibly, I don't know, get loose and wiggle. Like, it's honestly not that big of a deal. The car does sit quite low compared to other vehicles. I mean, my wife drives an SUV, so sometimes whenever you're pulling into a plaza or like a sharp ramp, the front bumper might scrape, but overall it's not that bad. We do have a baby seat in the back of this one. You do lose a little bit of legroom. I mean, I'm not the most comfortable in this car, but I gotta say, from the dashboard to the back rest of the rear passenger compartment, this is actually larger inside than the wife's Lexus RX 350. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You think you're getting like a luxurious vehicle that's big, but it's actually a little bit tighter inside, surprisingly. But overall, honestly, guys, it's been a great car. Other than the small little hiccups, just wear and tear items, spark plugs and tires, and I just did the rear brakes on it 2 months ago. The front brakes are nearing their end, so I'm going to be doing those soon. But honestly, I haven't even done the front pads since we got the car. The brakes have lasted quite a while, so it's been, you know, like very few and far between when it comes to maintenance items or anything like that. No real breakdowns. I think last year the battery died, you know, because it was already 8 years old and whatnot. So my wife just got a new battery then, and that's it. Honestly, this car is as reliable as any Honda I've owned before. So that's saying quite a bit with how far Kia has come in the car market, and I'm actually excited to see a lot of the new products. I just saw the 2021 Kia Optima, and it looks amazing. I would love to take that for a test drive. But anyway, thanks for watching my my quick little review, if you will, about this 2011 Kia Optima SX. I hope it can educate you, and maybe if you're swaying towards buying one of these, hopefully this will help you. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and have a nice night. Bye.